You know, I wouldn't normally say this to a person, but you should drink more.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that is feeling a lot perkier on the second take. Welcome. How are you, honey?
I'm well. Thank you so much. It was a weird couple of minutes. We're starting later than normal on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then you said you had to walk through a precarious conversation with our son about death.
Yeah.
And then your cousin, whom we have not seen in literal years.
No. Well, you know, he had to go and be like awesome and work in the Middle East. So he almost never comes home.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, I'm home. And,
yeah.
And he's giving me, she's like, oh, what are you guys doing at 9:30 on a Saturday night?
Recording our podcast, my dude.
This.
It's very important.
Yeah. So
go drink beers with my future brother-in-law and leave me alone for a little while.
But it was really nice to hear from him. But like it's been so, I don't think he's ever actually met our kids.
No, I don't think Mike has ever met our kids.
So it's been 6 years at least since we've seen him.
Yeah.
So he's in town, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, the last time I really hung out with him for any length of time was right before I found out I was pregnant with our oldest. So
So
it's been a while.
6 years, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we and then I'm having equipment issues. The audio keeps going out in my right ear because this cord
sucks.
So I'll be investing in new cords. But yeah, it was really nice to hear from him, and it was a really nice way to lead into the official kickoff of the Summer of Friendship.
The Summer of Friendship is upon us. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I love this.
Yeah. And
I've been excited for this for days.
We haven't talked about this yet. We've mentioned one. I think it'd be fun in honor of the first day of the summer, or the first episode of the Summer of Friendship. I think we should just lay everything out.
Oh yeah, for sure,
for everybody. So if you haven't listened to the previous episode yet, which was where we covered Hard Bubbles by Leah Legend. We mentioned that that was sort of a soft launch of the Summer of Friendship. And we mentioned that over the course of July and August, we are going to have at least four books covered that we're covering where they're written by our friends, IRL. And the other 4 episodes, we're going to have guest co-hosts. Our friends are going to come on and present a book to us.
Yes.
Now, we'll announce the books as they roll out. But this week, we thought it'd be good to tell you who, in addition to Gwendolyn Harper, who will be hosting next week's episode, the other 3 hosts who will be jumping on with us. And we've got folks from across the spectrum. We have another author who will be joining us. Author Ivy Young will be jumping on to present a book. Then we have a book talk influencer, a Sinful Signings sinfluencer.
Yes.
And the first person who really openly gave us love on the internet, and we definitely saw a spike right after she did that. Katie Hurd. You hear her name at the end of every episode because she's a Patreon supporter, but she's going to be jumping on and presenting a book to us.
Yes.
And then another book talker, influencer, and creator of Monster Eroticon.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So exciting.
Cassie, a.k.a. Unfortunate Reads on TikTok, will be presenting a book to us as well. And then, like I said, the other every other week will be a book written by a friend of the show.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
So there you go. Keep your ears peeled for that. I don't remember beyond. I remember Gwendolyn is going to be doing the next episode, and then the last episode that is being hosted will be Cassie, Unfortunate Reads. And I can't remember where Katie. So Katie has the August 8th slot. So I guess that means that
Ivy has the July, because that's
right.
That is the release of her book, Under a Montana Sky.
That's right.
So we're going to be rolling a little PR for her. I'm so proud of her. I'm so excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in the meantime, this week we have a book written by a friend of the show that we are going to formally launch the Summer of Friendship with. And do you have something you want to add before that?
I do.
Okay.
I have a correction that I need to make at the top of this episode, and I think we're also going to need to record something to put at the top of the Claimed by the Cthulhu episode as well. The author, Wendy Guff, has officially changed their name to reflect the correct pronunciation, Guff, which they chose in honor of a loving relative who has supported them through their writing career and not at all in relation to the indigenous folklore creature, the Wendigo. They issued an official apology because they did not mean to be misrepresenting themselves or accidentally appropriating native lore in their name. So I wanted to make that correction on this podcast because we did cover that book and because I was so excited about the name and I was very wrong about what that name was. So correction made.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so now that we have made that correction, this week's book is by a friend of the show and a Sinful Signings author who I've been wanting to cover for a long time, April D. Berry. April Berry writes what everyone in the Sinful community calls the palate cleansers. Sinful is a very dark romance forward book convention, and April writes sweet, lovely rom-coms.
Oh, good.
And they're so delightful. I originally read her Steel Brothers MC. I'm so sorry, I can't remember the whole name of it. It's a series of novellas about a small town motorcycle club, and they were so cute. And so I wanted to do this one for the start of the Summer of Friendship for many reasons, not the least of which is that I've been wanting to cover April for a long time, but also because it has some of my favorite tropes in it.
All right.
And I'm really excited to get into it.
And one of your
my least favorite tropes, but it's still okay. It's still okay.
The other tropes outweigh it.
Yeah, they outweigh it very much.
Let's get after it.
This is Cut to the Heart of It, a romantic comedy novella by April D. Berry. It's available for $2.99 or through Kindle Unlimited or $7.99 print-on-demand Amazon paperback. It has the cutest cover. I put it in my notes because I love it so much. Isn't it adorable?
It is.
Yes. So this week, our Triple T's triggers, tropes, and titillations. Our triggers are dangerous weather conditions, mentions of drinking, mentions of the loss of a parent. Pretty easy on the triggers this week. Tropes, this is an FM cis-het romance, rom-com, trapped together by nature, I guess is what I wrote because it's not snowed in, but it's basically snowed in. That's why it's one of my favorite tropes. Love it. Love it so much. And then we also have lumberjack and silver fox.
Okay.
Which are microtropes. Silver fox, I think, is a microtrope especially, but still worthy of mentioning. And then for our titillations, we have fucking standard, spectacular human fucking.
Basic standard issue human fucking.
Yes. So let's begin then. So we'll start with our FMC. Her name is CJ. CJ is a no-nonsense 45-year-old plus-sized hottie.
All right.
Yeah, fucking, I love her. She has big green eyes and she has gone fully gray, which started early and eventually she just stopped fighting it. So now she has that amazing silver bob, but she's in her mid-40s.
I was going to say.
I fucking love it. She's our silver fox, by the way.
I was going to say, I'm in my mid-40s and I just got like patches of gray.
Yeah. She went fully gray and let it go.
Lucky.
And I'm so jealous. I love my little patch of gray that I have in my bangs. I want it to get bigger.
You're getting there.
I know. So CJ is has like a work from home desk job of some kind, not really ever quantified in any way, but she is also an indie author. She writes mystery novels. And this is another one of my favorite, I guess it's kind of a trope. It's a meta trope. An indie book about an indie author. I love it.
It's a good trope.
It is. There are some authors I think who don't want to write something like that. Like they feel like that's like cringeworthy or something. Okay, great. Don't write that. That's not for you. But for the people who do write it, I love it.
It's a very fine line amongst different disciplines of writing. Mm-hmm. Like if you read enough print journalism, mm-hmm. you eventually will come across people writing about the act of being a journalist, and then you'll also come across people talking about people. Like it's a trope that journalists love nothing more than to write about journalism and being a journalist.
Uh-huh.
So it's a fine line, but this you don't see it very often, or it can be done well.
Yeah, it can be done well. I've seen it done a couple of times, and I've enjoyed it every single time. But again, I also I really love reader insert fan fiction. I am all about that cringe life. I don't care.
Oh.
I love all that stuff. So, author writing about being an author, fuck yes, all day with a spoon. I'll just eat that shit up.
One person's cringe is another person's riz. I don't know. It's Gat.
It's official. We killed 3 different slang words right then.
Oh, yeah.
We are over the age of 30, and we said all 3 of those words.
something, a million Gen Z voices cried out because they heard a middle-aged man say gat.
That's amazing. Okay, so back to CJ. So at the start of the book, CJ is speeding home from her lunch break.
Naughty girl.
And she's absolutely furious. So she went to the deli on her lunch to get a sandwich. And while she was there, the town gossip, Motormouth Lori, let her know that the childhood friend to lover, John, that she spent this past weekend beautifully fucking in Olympic National Park, is engaged. And he lied to her the entire time. And she is fucking pissed. She is so mad. She gets home. She slams the door shut. She calls him. She's like, "Are you out of your mind?" And he said, "So confused. What are you talking about? You're engaged. You thought you'd get away with it? This town is way too small for that." Mm-hmm. And she just hangs up. She does not have time for his nonsense. Whether or not, I got the vaguest sensation that he was not engaged and he was just confused.
I can relate.
But whatever. She does not have, she has very strict emotional walls.
Yeah.
Because of just past shitty relationships. And she's 45, single, no children, because she has made specific choices.
Yeah, I was going to say I can relate to this. I don't know if I've ever told you the story. Very briefly, there was a rumor that was going around in high school that I was gay. Not oh, Carl's gay, but legit, people were were taking it as gospel. And I finally got to the root of it. I went to the local that weekend, mm-hmm. and was just hanging out talking to a dude. And apparently, I didn't know. I'd met him there. Apparently, that dude was gay. Mm-hmm. And in the mid 90s,
just talking to him,
because other people knew that he was gay, and so they're like, "Well, Carl's the only dude that talked to him, so he must be gay."
Yeah. So that's similar vibes about finding out that John is engaged. He might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But either way, CJ does not have the time to try and figure it out.
Fair.
She's not going to even deal with it.
Okay.
She's done and dusted. So she goes back to work, and she's 15 minutes late. So her boss makes her stay 15 minutes later, but she finishes all of her actual work in 2 hours because of course she does, because that's work from home. So she just has to sit and wiggle her mouse every once in a while and check her emails. And she ends up scrolling and online shopping and stuff. She won't write while she's working because she's gotten in trouble in the past for getting too caught up in that process and then not actually doing her job. When she finishes for the day, she continues scrolling instead of writing, and she's feeling kind of stuck, not like she can't get the words out, mm-hmm. Author problems. And she sees on social media that an author friend of hers just went to this really nice cabin retreat and wrote a ton, and she had a wonderful time, and she recommends anybody who's also in the area go up and do it too. Well, CJ lives pretty close to that area. She thinks she can maybe make it work. So she messages this friend. She gets the address. It is close enough. So she books this last minute ticket. She has enough PTO. She just takes it. She's going to go from Thursday night through Sunday night or something mm-hmm. like that. So that she can be back from work on Monday morning. She gets the approved PTO, and that's it. Impulsively, but done. There's weather rolling in, she sees at some point, and she's like, but it's not even gonna be there until Monday or Tuesday anyway, so I'll be out of there before any of that hits. It'll be fine. Then we do a quick like hard cut to our MMC. His name is Johnny. No relation to the John of the previous scene. It's just a pretty common white man name. Yeah. And I think we have at least one listener named John. Hi, John.
Statistically, at least one.
I know we do because Ivy.
Oh, yeah.
Ivy's husband is named John.
Oh. Hey, John.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Hi, brother.
Hey. Anyway, so this Johnny, is the owner of Hart's Rentals. The cabin that CJ just rented is his cabin. He is in his 50s, gray temples, salt and pepper beard, mountain man, but still very physically capable. Like he's on the good side of 50. He's still got like arms and abs, and he swings an axe a lot in this book in various states of undress.
It's good exercise.
Yeah, it is. It is good exercise. Well, in this scene, he's swinging an axe with his shirt on because he's actually working, splitting wood, because his wood splitter is broken and there's weather coming in, so he needs to make sure that they have enough wood at all of the cabins. He only has 3 cabins, and for some reason, they get rented out by women a lot. And he isn't quite sure why, because they're just these little hunting cabins in the middle of nowhere. And he talks about that with his son. He has a 19-year-old son named Danny, who is an absolute freaking delight. Danny is super sweet. He's 19. He lives at home. He goes to school online because even though he got like a scholarship to go somewhere, he wanted to stay close to his dad. The mom's not in the picture, never has been. And he is just the sweetest boy ever. So he and Johnny and Danny discuss the weather, they discuss the cabins, they discuss how many women tend to rent these cabins and why that's weird. Danny says it's because they put in hot tubs. Mm-hmm. I, as the reader, know it's because the guy who owns the place is hot as fuck, and women will tell each other that.
I was gonna say I'm sitting over here going check Yelp.
Yeah, it's probably just word of mouth. I mean, I think in the conversation that CJ had with her friend, her author friend, she was even like, and there's a good view, winky face. Like, they're telling each other this. The thirsty writers are all telling each other to go write in this cabin with the hot lumberjack guy.
Right.
Okay, hell yeah. Help a sister out. Women supporting women. So after they have that conversation, they also talk about how they need to go down the mountain to visit Johnny's Uncle Bo, who is a 70-year-old man who owns the local provisional grocery store. Basically, this entire scene was just a setup that screamed hot, stable business owner who cares about his family. Yeah. Great. Fucking setup of the century. Love that for CJ. Love it.
Wherein our author lays out the green flags.
Exactly. Seriously. Wherein we list a few very important things that one may look for in a partner. Attractive, stable, good to his family.
Yep. Good parent.
Has a job and a house. Not necessarily one that he owns, but a place that he lives.
He's got 3.
Yeah, well, he's got 4 because he lives in his own home as well as the 3 cabins. Anyway,
he can kick them out, or just not book them.
Yeah, you could just not book them. Yeah. The next scene. So we follow through CJ packing and getting ready to travel up the mountain for the weekend. She has a call with her mom who says that storm is not going to hold off until Monday, honey. You took the time off, but just stay home. Just stay home. And CJ's like, no, mother, I'm doing this. I'm going. She does not like to be patronized, to be made to feel like she can't do things because of any particular reason. Like, she's a grown ass woman and she's putting her fucking foot down. She drives up the mountain. She stops at that provisional grocery store where Uncle Bo works, and she meets him, and he is just the sweetest old man. He's like 70. He's got skin made of paper and big eyes, and he carries the basket around for her while she shops until he has to go and help another customer. He's just the sweetest. But the customer who comes in is Johnny. He has come in just to check on Uncle Bo. And CJ gets a glimpse of him, and she sees big, hot lumberjack man. And so immediately her hackles go up because she's not here for hot men. She just had a very bad experience with John the weekend before. She is not here for hot men. And then she hears this nice old man call this hot stranger Johnny, and she's like, oh fuck, his name's John. Jesus Christ, that's even worse.
Wait, is that the guy I've been fucking?
Fuck that guy. I was like, honey, call a therapist, call a friend, call me. You are not thinking clearly right now. Okay, one John is not all Johns, but okay, the trauma for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not okay. She's kind of a mess. I love her. I love her very much. So she and Johnny actually have a conversation. The problem is that he is kind of condescending to her. He's like, "Oh, you're a tourist. You know there's weather coming, right? You probably shouldn't keep going up the mountain." You don't say that. You don't say that to CJ. She's not happy about that at all. So she's like, "Fuck you." She goes out to the parking lot. It's already started to rain. So that weather's coming a little faster than she thought, but she's like, "Oh, fuck it. It's fine. It'll be fine." She almost drops a bunch of her groceries. He catches them for her, and they have a little more of a conversation in the parking lot, but it's raining. She's hot, and her shirt is wet now. And he looks down, and she gets mad, and she slams her way into the car and leaves. And when she looks back at him, he is already walking toward his truck. From his perspective, he's mortified because he couldn't keep his eyes from wandering. Feels a bit like a teenager, but also he's like, "But she smells like grapefruit, and the water was just like flowing down her skin. How was I not supposed to look at this incredibly beautiful woman? She's wet in the parking lot. Come on." Okay, I get you. I do. I feel you, buddy. I do.
You gotta take a peek. You
gotta look a little, but he does still feel bad about it.
You just poked the wrong bear. You caught her at a bad time.
You caught her at a bad time. Yeah, exactly. So he goes to check on all of his properties before he goes home for the evening. Can't get her out of his head. He gets home. He and Danny have like beers and dinner. They talk about the storm. There's 2 of the 3 cabins have cancellations at this point, but the 3rd cabin is still occupied. He thinks it's a hunter or something because some season just started. Who knows? Some dude, but he hopes he's okay out there.
If it's that guy we drove past on the expressway today, it's ass eating season.
Seriously, we did see that. I forgot about that truck.
Just a truck sticker on the back of the truck said ass eating season. The season was spelled SEEZN.
Yeah.
He can't spell, but he can eat ass. So, you know.
He had his Instagram handle like right underneath too, like,
yeah.
like call me ladies.
Dude knows what he's about.
He eats ass, and he and his DMs are open.
Yeah, and he's on Instagram.
He's on Insta. That's probably an Insta for his truck. Almost guaranteed.
Oh yeah, because the truck behind it was also like, a nicer new model, and it had the same font and everything. It's probably truck guys.
Truck guys.
But this guy,
one of them eats ass.
One of them eats ass.
At least one of them.
At least one. One of them who's comfortable enough to talk about it in public.
That's amazing. Okay. So Danny and Johnny have a lovely evening together. They talk about Uncle Bo a little bit more and how worried they are that he's still pushing himself working so much at the grocery because Johnny's dad just passed away from a heart attack a few years prior. Like, big feelings were happening in this scene. I was like, holy shit, God. Oh, my God.
Uncle Bo's always got those roomy eyes.
Oh, like, Lord. God, no, I don't want to think about elder death right now. Anyway. So eventually Johnny calls it a night. He goes upstairs, takes a shower, cranks one out to the hot woman who scolded him in the parking lot.
Naturally.
And then goes to sleep, but he can't get her out of his head. He probably dreams about her. I don't know if he did or not, but cool.
Definitely cranked though.
Definitely cranked. For sure cranked one. And she did too. I think that was in the next morning. She was like, I had to Jill one out for the hot lumberjack that pissed me off in the parking lot.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Everybody's feeling clever about this situation. I like
Boy,
it.
have I got news for you,
yes.
CJ.
Hello. Okay, so CJ wakes up. She's in this cute little cabin. It's just like this 1-bedroom, adorable little cabin. She got in like super late because the rain made the drive really slow. So she's happy to like look around and find that the cabin is stocked with a bunch of essentials. She also got some groceries, and then like she opens the freezer and there's a bunch of frozen food, which is explained as like a previous tenant left it there and they didn't have time to clear it out. But also just very useful for what's coming up, because you heard the tropes and triggers.
They had to vacate because they couldn't handle being so close to the hot lumberjack, and they were just jilling it raw.
Ouch!
I gotta get out of here. I can't stop jilling.
Get lube if it's raw. Stop doing that to yourself. Okay, so she gets herself ready for the day because CJ is one of those people who likes to be put together all day. She's not one of those like PJ'd all day people. I wish I could be like that sometimes, but most of the time I'm like, but my PJs are so comfy.
Right.
Pants though, why?
I had to wear khakis for 5 days straight in New Orleans.
Oh,
and
you were mad about it. Your body was like physically rejecting them by the end.
Like I came back on Wednesday evening and just like, they just spontaneously exploded off me.
You literally like you came in and you were naked so fast. You were like, I do not want to be in these clothes anymore. No more slacks, no more. But CJ likes her slacks. So she gets herself ready and she works and eventually she writes like 4,500 words that first morning, which is amazing. Yeah, good job. And then she decides to like make herself something to eat. She goes out, she sits on the patio to eat her lunch, and she hears like a weird knocking sound, but she thinks it's probably just woodland creatures or something. She's out in the middle of the forest, and it's also raining. And while the tree cover makes it so that they don't get much rain around the cabin, there's still a lot happening vis-a-vis the rain in the trees.
Yeah.
So she doesn't think anything of it until she hears a rustling sound of sounds like a large body coming around the side of the cabin. We can remember that CJ is a murder mystery writer, and that explains why she like immediately hops up, runs inside, slams the door shut, locks it, and gets a knife. Because her first thought is like, murderer in the woods come to kill me.
Right.
It's not. It's Johnny, who eventually does get her to understand that he is the owner of this cabin and the owner of Hart's Rentals, and he is here to tell her that the weather is getting worse. He thought CJ was a hunter, so he came out to speak to CJ. So once he figures out that she is not like squatting, that she is the CJ in question, she needs to leave. The weather's getting worse and it's not safe. She still thinks that she is being patronized, and so she argues, and they have a fight about it until his phone rings. It's Danny, who has called to tell him the roads are washed out. The road from their home is washed out. He is trapped up at their house. He's fine. He's got plenty of supplies, and the power never goes out. I don't know if it's because they have generators or if they're just lucky, but the power never goes out. And so he tells Danny, stay put, don't do anything. Obviously it's not safe. Just whatever you need to do, just stay put. He takes his truck back out to the main road and watches as part of the road washes away. And then the tree whose roots were like fucked up underneath the road falls onto the remaining section of road. He's officially trapped there at the cabin with CJ. Fucking love it. Yes. Thank you, Mother Nature. Goddamn. I love it. I love this stuff. I love it so much.
So the cabins are not close to the house, it sounds like?
Not close enough.
Okay.
He said he could walk, but it would be not a particularly pleasant or safe walk. No. And he wouldn't take her. He wouldn't take her, and he wouldn't leave her there by herself either. So they're stuck. She's not like super happy about that. First, she's like, you were going to send me out in that? You came out here to tell me to leave and send me out in that? And he's like, I wouldn't have driven up here if I thought it was that dangerous. I thought I was being safe. Jesus Christ, woman. Like, calm down.
Jeez, now I regret masturbating
Seriously.
to the thought of you.
Oh my God. He calls her woman about 1 billion times in this book, and most of the time I'm not a big fan of that. But honestly, this woman needs to be called woman sometimes. Because multiple times in this book, I was like, bitch. And he can't call her a bitch, so he better call her woman.
That is a barely safer way to say that.
Barely safer. But you know what? She needed it a little bit. She needed to be reminded that he did not try to kill her with the weather or do this in some weird attempt to trap her here. Yeah, he controls the weather enough to kidnap women. I mean,
right.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, and conversely, you can't do the opposite to a man and piss him off, because the word man.
Oh yeah,
it's just man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it sounds like. Man. Yes. What?
I think the closest you could get would be maybe calling someone boy.
Yeah,
that has a whole other way grosser connotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah. But then, of course, that's because There's nothing wrong with being a man. You can't insult someone by calling them a man.
Of course. Man, thank you for acknowledging my birth.
Patriarchy.
Thank you for acknowledging my birthright.
Exactly. So gross. Anyway, so he's got a few things like in his truck. So he's not completely out of clothes. He has like a couple of extra t-shirts and some long johns. And she's like, that's not fair. A man like that should not be allowed to walk around in long johns around me. I might combust. That's not okay. That's not fair.
Long johns?
Long johns. Long underwear. I don't know. All
right.
Whatever. So he settles in. There's a little bit of conversation about like he wants to turn the TV on and watch the weather, but she's trying to write. So he has to put it on. He has to mute it, and like then he's staring at her and she's annoyed about that. It's a whole thing. What a girl. Unwind. For real.
Get the stick out of your ass and go.
I love her so much, but she is a type A woman.
Get the stick out of your ass and then just go sit on it. It doesn't matter where. Just go sit on some part of Johnny. Just get it over with.
So eventually they figure out a system that works. She manages to write, I think, another 8,000 words, 12,500 words in one day, I think.
That seems like a lot.
That's crazy town. If that's real, or maybe I miscalculated and maybe I misread and she only wrote 8,000 total. Either way,
I'm
that's
exhausted.
A fuck ton of words.
Thinking about either one.
Yeah, either way, that's a lot of words. But so she's quite happy at the end of all of that. He goes to make them dinner.
Does she have something to say about that too?
Actually, she does.
Jesus Christ.
But no, it's not that. He cooks all of their meals while they are here. And multiple times she's like, you don't have to do that. I can cook for myself. And he's like, I'm cooking your dinner, woman. What do you want? Like, she's just not at all used to anyone taking care of her.
Fucking obviously.
And the fact that he does so without any expectation of reciprocation of any kind, she doesn't know what to do with it. She has no fucking clue how to handle it. She doesn't know how to deal with this man at all because he's just a good person. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know how to deal with a good man. She's completely floored. Which, I mean, too real. And sad.
Too real, too sad.
Too real, too sad. Moving on, back to the lumberjack. So he cooks dinner, they have a drink, and then she turns on some true crime show to fall asleep to while she eats, and then she falls asleep on the couch. And he picks her up to take her up to her room, and she wakes up about halfway up the stairs, and she is mad. First of all, I know. First of all, because he picked her up without her permission. He touched her without permission. And second of all, because she's a big girl, she's a plus size woman, and she's not used to it. It is jarring to be picked up when you're not expecting it. And she just like was being cradle carried up the stairs by a man. That I can imagine would be frightening to wake up to if you're fat. Trust me.
That's fair.
So yeah, she's not happy, but he just like deposits her on the bed and turns around and walks out of the room. It's like, good night. I just needed my bed because he's sleeping on the couch. If she was asleep on the couch, he was going to have to sleep in the bed. And she would have been more pissed about that if he'd have left her on the couch. You know, she would have been more pissed about that.
Jesus Christ. Just navigating a fucking minefield.
So I told you that this was a miscommunication trope. It's actually, I guess, not really the miscommunication trope. It's just the prickly woman trope. I don't know.
It's just the stick up her ass trope.
She's got a hard shell.
Yeah.
It's hard to get in there.
Seriously.
Yeah, I know. Oh, so this does not end well. She yells and she hits him in the process of all of this. And so the next morning when she wakes up, he has made breakfast and she's again like, you don't have to do this. And he fucking eat. How do you want your eggs? Jesus, just let me make you a meal. So they eat breakfast. He apologizes for touching her without permission, and she apologizes for hitting him and yelling at him and generally being sort of rude. And then after this conversation, she's like, okay, I'm gonna go get to work. This is my writer's retreat and you can go do whatever. At this point, he has fully gotten the vibe from her that she is not at all interested in him at all. His advances are going unnoticed. She keeps saying that they are just dealing with this because that's what they have to do right now. So he just separates himself from her. His feelings are hurt, but Q, working instead of taking care of your feelings, he just does a bunch of domestic stuff for the rest of the day, and we sort of follow him around. He does laundry, he does chores, he like sets the chicken out to thaw, and eventually what he ends up doing is he decides he's going to clear some lumber off of the property with an axe by hand, just because he needs something to do with his energy. And that's where CJ eventually finds him shirtless chopping wood in the woods.
I'll show her.
And she's just like, oh, hello. I'm going to make a sandwich and bring it out to him.
No woman can resist me shirtlessly chopping wood.
Seriously. So she ogles him for a little bit. She makes him a sandwich, and she brings out like a sandwich and chips and a beer or something. And she brings it out to him and ogles him for a little bit until he notices that she's there. And they have a very quick conversation, but he is super cold to her and dismissive. And
no.
Yeah. And she walks away from this conversation feeling really angry.
But
and
she's
upset.
been so kind and welcoming to him.
Warm. She's been so inviting to be around.
What with all the constant telling him to fuck off and stop being. Now look, I can understand the waking up to being held by a stranger. That okay.
Yeah.
Fair. This is a moment of realism in a book that normally in these books that would be like, oh.
Yeah. But so, I mean, because the thing is, like, it was internally, yeah, being picked up like that turned her on significantly. But she can't. She doesn't. She is, like I said, go to therapy, call a girlfriend, get some help, girl. Yeah. Get a handle on it.
But everything else,
yeah,
I am quite frankly shocked that he has the audacity.
The audacity, yeah, to be so kind.
Yeah.
To be so helpful, to make all of her meals. Anyway, so she storms back inside and she decides she's going to have a drink about her feelings. So she brought a handle of Fireball on this retreat. Okay, whatever your drink of choice is, but Fireball. So she takes like a double shot of Fireball.
Certainly a choice.
It is for once responsible for good decisions because a few minutes later he comes inside and they talk for like 5 damn seconds. They actually talk to each other. Thank you so much. All she needed was a couple shots of Fireball to loosen herself up enough to have a conversation. Fucking hell, CJ.
You know, I wouldn't normally say this to a person, but you should drink more.
Right? Have you considered? So once they talk about their feelings for like 5 fucking seconds, they kiss and the sparks fly. Like they have a very quick conversation where Johnny makes it clear that this isn't like a one weekend stand kind of situation. They're not just fucking because they're trapped here. He does like her, and they will be seeing each other again after all of this is over. And once that clears up, once that's all clear, she rips his shirt off. She's literally like, "Do you like this shirt? No? Okay, good." And then she rips it open and like she gets a button in the eye, but worth it because dream fulfilled. She's always wanted to rip a lumberjack's shirt off.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fuck yeah, man. Live your dream. The next 2 chapters are some of like the sweetest, like giddiest, cutest rom-com sex. It was so adorable. I loved every second of it. It was so like weaving in and out of conversations that need to be had. They're talking condoms. They're talking like all this stuff and the emotional stuff, and also just having really great sex. No, there's no weird dicks. There's no magic this time. It's just really great sex. And I loved it.
Not even like a little misshapen or crooked or anything?
I don't even remember if it's intimately described.
All right.
I know they put a condom on it. I know that much.
All right. Well, it's at least condom shaped.
Yep. After that, they get cleaned up and he cooks her dinner again. They eat together. He tells her about Danny's parentage. So mom got pregnant, didn't want to be a mom, left. everything's fine now. He raised Danny with the help of his parents and Uncle Bo. His parents are now gone, etc., etc. They have a really lovely. They have several lovely days like that. They just spend several days having a very simple life. She gets up, she gets herself ready, she writes, he putters around, he cooks, he cleans, he does chores on the property. She goes and sees him every once in a while. They have a bunch of fantastic sex. Like, they're having an incredible time. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And once Monday rolls around and she's still stuck there, her boss is a little pissed about it, but she has internet access, so she goes to work. Like, everything's fine. Everything's great.
Okay, so it's work from cabin.
Yeah, it's work from cabin. Exactly. It's not work from home. Who cares? One night while they're watching her murder shows, he asks her why she doesn't, like, if her dream is to live in a cabin and write in the woods, why doesn't she just do that? And she's like, there's this thing called money, and I need it for stuff. And he's like, okay, well, you have a job and I have a cabin you can work from. You could just stay here. And she's like, are you out of your mind? Like, he basically drops it right on her. Why would you want to stay in that apartment that you don't even really like that much when you want to be out in the woods, living the Hobbit life, writing full time? I can make that happen. We can make that happen. Why fight it? And also, just to like sweeten the pot a little, he is also the owner of Hart's Lumber, not just Hart Real Estate or Hart Rentals or whatever the fuck. Hart Lumber, which is one of the largest lumber suppliers in the tri-state area. So fuck yeah, he's also a lumber baron. Great. Yep. The rich guy wants to support your life. Wonderful. That's where the fantasy kicks in.
Ooh, he comes from wood money.
Yep, he's got lumber money. So he's like, if you want to keep your apartment, I can help you keep your apartment. We can keep paying for your apartment if you just want to have a place to go. Yeah. I
literally have land full of the stuff they use to literally print money.
Exactly. Well, no, money is printed on a linen.
Let's say like linen.
Yeah. So anyway,
fine, checks.
So he gives her this offer: come live with me or live in a cabin on my property for as long as you want, forever, whatever. And she's like, what the fuck, my guy? And then there's a knock on the door. It's Danny. So the roads have been repaired enough for the logging crews to come out and clear the roads. And as soon as he could get to them, Danny came down immediately to check on his dad. So I don't know how long they have been there, but it's been a while. They're running pretty low on provisions. And Danny was like, I just need to make sure that you and CJ were okay. So Johnny has been talking to Danny on the phone every single day, and he's told her all about CJ. Mm-hmm. And he knows that Danny knows that CJ is a person of interest to Johnny, if nothing else at this point.
Are you my new mom? Not for lack of his trying.
Obviously not, but like, yeah. So he says that the only crews in the area who are available to start moving the logs are the Hart crews. So they're about to make like a massive government check on top of all of this. So fucking, yeah, great. Everything worked out banner for this man.
Seriously.
I'm almost upset. I'm almost upset at how well this all worked out for everyone. Like, come on, that's not fucking fair.
Wow.
I would love that for me, but no.
I'm rich. I own cabins and trees.
Yep.
And this hot woman just fell into my lap.
Exactly.
Almost literally.
Exactly. I mean, when's the last time, our dishwasher broke but underneath was a gold bar? Never.
Everything's
Jesus.
Coming up Millhouse for this guy.
Fuck you, Johnny.
Seriously.
Sorry. I'm just a little stressed about money, Johnny. It's not you. Okay, so Johnny convinces CJ to come back to his house with Danny for the night. Instead of staying at this cabin any longer, they have changes of clothes and fully functioning showers and stuff. Like, they have laundry and a shower at the cabin, but it's not. They've been kind of roughing it a little bit for several days. He convinces her to just come for one night. She's like, I can't just come and live with you. He's like, just this one night. We'll figure the rest of it out tomorrow, but just this one night. So they go back to his house, and his house is like this fully updated and renovated, lovely cabin-esque mansion in the woods. You know, she goes immediately to bed. She's exhausted. He stays up for a little while and talks to Danny, and then goes to bed himself. And he's, as far as he's concerned, it's this simple. He wants her to stay, and she can. He has the means to do this. Why can't she? He's the happiest that he has been in years. So why the fuck would he want this to end? I mean, because you need a reality check? I don't know. That's a big ask. That's a big ask, my guy. So he wakes up at like 5 a.m. to an empty bed, and he goes downstairs to find her drinking coffee. She's about to leave. She was going to leave without saying goodbye, coward. And yes, they have said many times that phones exist and cars exist, and this relationship is not going to be over when she goes home. It's obviously still killing both of them that she's leaving, but she feels like she has to. Like, she has to go back to her big girl life. She can't just accept the billionaire lumber baron offering her dream on a silver platter. She just can't. So what's he gonna do? He helps her pack her car and tells her to please call him when she gets home. They exchange numbers, and she leaves. He goes back inside. Later that morning, Danny wakes up and he's like, she left. I'm so sad about it. I offered her to stay forever, and she left. And Danny's like, yeah, Dad.
Yeah, that's
you're kind of a lot. You're kind of a lot. And you just were like, come live in the mountains with me forever.
Yeah. You're lucky she didn't mace you.
Yeah, for real. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. All right.
I will say, I like the reality that April has woven into this book.
Me too. I do a lot. I do appreciate, like, obviously I love the weird shit, and I will fully accept, like, you know, marshmallow peeps come to life, fuck a woman. I will do that.
But even in the human realm, like, I still think about Stepbrother Summer.
Yeah.
You know, like the insta-loves and the insta-lusts where it's like, hi, we should fuck. What?
Yeah. I mean, I'm down with those too, but I do appreciate a reality rom-com.
Yeah.
A rom-com set in reality. Okay, so a week later, CJ has spent this week like waiting for Johnny to come and visit her. Basically, they've talked on the phone every single day. They're in a full relationship. They just don't see each other. But as soon as she got back to town, he was like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm coming to visit you. Basically immediately. So she's been planning for this all week. She logs out of her work computer at 5 p.m. on the dot. At 5:30, he's knocking on the door. At 5:31, they're naked. At 5:31 and 30 seconds, he is inside her. No, we are not fucking around. Like he goes to go down on her, and she's like, later. I need you to fuck me immediately. So they have wonderful sex about it. It's, again, fantastic sex scenes. They're very, very sweet. They reconnect in a lovely way. He goes to start dinner, and he tells, yeah, he's still gonna cook for her. She's like, you don't have to cook for me here. And he's like, woman, I am going to cook for you forever. Get used to it. So he goes out to start dinner, and he tells her that her phone is going crazy. Her boss has been texting her and calling her. So she calls him back to just find out that 10 minutes after she logged out, her boss sent her a bunch of reports that needed to be finished by Monday morning.
Tough shit.
Yeah. And and she's like, okay, first of all, that was 5:10. I wouldn't even have seen these until Monday if you didn't call me. I can't work this weekend. I can't even do this much work in the amount of time you have given me.
Yep.
It's not possible. I will talk to you on Monday. And he's like, I don't give a shit about your personal life. It's not my problem. Get it done or you're fired.
Okay, I guess I'm fired.
Yeah, she
seriously.
hangs up the phone, and she's like, I'm going to lose my job. And he goes, good. Lose your job. That's not a good work environment. You shouldn't be working there.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Even if you didn't have the out of the rich boyfriend who wants to take care of you, do not stay at that place.
I would in no uncertain terms tell my boss to go fuck themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Insane. And the fact that it happens to people all the time just makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pro tip, if anybody ever does that to you, tell them in no uncertain terms to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. It's not in your contract. Anyway, So he says, well, we have two options. We can either sue them or you can drop it and come live with me in the woods. And she laughs hysterically for 5 to 10 seconds. And then she's like, oh, wait, you're serious? And he's, yes, I am absolutely serious. How is this not a sign from the universe that you should come live in the mountains and write books in my cabin? Like, do it. Just do it. And she's like, okay, what? So the thing is, like, I need to have a job or something, because I can't. What if you just get sick of me? Like, I am high and dry without a job, without a place to live, without anything. And he says, oh, well, if you're worried about security, I mean, that hurts my feelings a little bit, but I understand. And let's get married. Are you out of your fucking mind, sir? Yes, he is completely out of his mind. He's absolutely out of his mind. Johnny is out of his mind. But he knows what he wants, and he wants her. And if the financial security of a marriage is what it's going to take for her to feel comfortable, then that's what they'll do. He tells her, just say it. Just stop overthinking everything. You want this. I know you want this, and I'm offering it to you without any strings attached. You're attaching strings by wanting security, so we can get married if you want it.
I was gonna say, well, I feel like the marriage thing is kind of a pretty big string.
Yeah, I mean, he's just say yes. Stop overthinking all of this. And she's, no, you know what? You're right. Yes. All right, let's do this. And so they're gonna go to Vegas. They go to the next scene. They go to Vegas with her mom and Danny, and they have an Elvis wedding. And they get married right there in Vegas. And as he is carrying her over the threshold of the Elvis chapel, he finally turns to her and says, he says, I love you. And she says, well, it's about fucking time. I love you too. That's the end of the book. That was cut to the heart of it by April D. Berry. No epilogue. They got married in Vegas. That's it. She's going to go be an author in the mountains with her hot lumberjack husband. Congratulations, CJ. You did it. You achieved the dream.
I'm sorry, I'm not a lumberjack.
I don't want you to be a lumberjack, dearie. I want you to be a hot autistic punk dad.
Oh, good. Well, I got that in spades.
Hell yes.
Thank goodness. I'm really glad that's what you're into. Anything else you're into besides me?
Oh my God, what am I into? No, you first.
I am into some heavy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into some heavy shit this week. But I think it's important shit. Because last week I was in New Orleans for back-to-back conferences. And I've mentioned it before on the show, loosely without, doxing myself too much. I work in pharmacy. Specifically, I work with independent pharmacies. And that is why this week I am into PBM reform. We're not really getting it at the federal level yet, but I am into state PBM reform. If you don't know what PBMs are, they are pharmacy benefit managers, and they are the fucking worst. If you're seeing Rite Aid's closing and Walgreens closing, those are major chain pharmacies, and they can't even stay in business. And Walgreens was aligned with the fucking PBM, and they can't even stay in business. PBMs are the absolute worst, and there's no way in hell that I could explain it to you right now in this moment. So I'm going to link to the NCPA, National Community Pharmacy Association website, and it has a list of bills that are going out through state levels right now. But it is very important because pharmacies, especially independent pharmacies, are sometimes the only place in certain communities where people have to go to get access to any kind of health care. Pharmacies are more important than you could ever possibly imagine. So we need to protect them at all costs. So I'm going to put a link in there. Take a look, go study, find out what's going on with PBMs, find out what's going on in your state. And I would encourage you, if you hear anything at all about some sort of bill or legislation in your state that is aimed at PBM reform, specifically PBM transparency, I would encourage you to reach out to your representatives and encourage them to support that legislation, because we need to protect pharmacies.
Absolutely. Especially in healthcare deserts. Pharmacists are often the only doctors most people have access to.
Absolutely.
Okay, I know what I'm into, and it's not heavy shit. I am into Legos.
No, that's
So I today remembered that I got this vase recently.
Oh,
in a like quarterly box that I get, and I have this Lego bouquet that I made for myself a while ago that was in a different vase, but I didn't like the vase that it was in as much as I like this one, and I'm very happy. They're so pretty. I want more Lego flowers to put around the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went through that huge Lego phase for a long time. I built every single Harry Potter based Lego kit.
Oh God, yes.
That there was,
including the Diagon Alley,
including that massive Diagon Alley, and most of them are half taken apart right now because of various moves and things. And I want to display them at some point, but until then, the Lego flowers are lovely and on display now in my home, and they make me happy. That's what I'm into.
Excellent. Well, this is normally the part of the episode where we would tell you, or Katie would tell you, what we're going to be reading next week, but we don't know. Because Gwendolyn Harper is going to be joining us on the show.
I think I know what she's doing because she's talked to me about it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, don't tell me. So sit in suspense for a week while we wait on that. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, please do so. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Down in the show notes is our link tree. Click on that. The link at the top is a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. We don't get any money for it. We're just trying to help the authors out. If you would like to support us financially, you can do so on Patreon for just $1, like these fine folks did. Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
I can't wait to find out what Gwendolyn is going to be telling us about next time. But listener, until then, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
Now, I am going to bed. Goodbye.